Oh my gosh. Wait, is he treating this like a one-night stand?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You cannot possibly tell me that you need to be chaperoned on your first date. Cajun turkey. I've never had that. Hey guys, surprise, surprise. Welcome to today's episode. Do you know something a little bit different about us today? Yes, we finally have a Christmas tree in the background, bring on the festive mood. To be honest, it feels kind of hallmarky for me and I am loving it. By the time you guys see this episode, we are very, very close to Thanksgiving. So shout out to you guys who are in the US and celebrating Thanksgiving. Hope you're having a very warm holiday. And today's theme is actually surprise. I will be filming a Q&A very soon. You guys suggested this. I want to get to know you guys better and answer any questions you have for me, for Mr. Deep Voice here, and my fiance, or for the cats, if you're curious about them. Please do leave me any questions in the comments and I'll answer them in the Q&A. All right, let's get into the stories. Our first story is from the subreddit aita. Am I the a-hole for leaving a first date because his mom came along? So, I'm 21-year-old female and went on a first date last week with a guy I matched with on Hinge. Let's call him Jake, 25-year-old male. We've been chatting for a few weeks and he seemed like a solid guy. Funny, good taste in music, and even remembered I loved Italian food. He planned the date at this nice little spot in Dallas, which I thought was sweet. I show up and everything's fine at first. He's already there, we hug, and he even complimented my outfit. But like 5 minutes after I sit down, this older woman walks in. Jake stands up, waves her over, and says, "This is my mom." I thought I misheard him for a second. She sits down at the table all casual and starts introducing herself to me like this is normal. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there trying to figure out if I'm being pranked. I kind of laugh nervously and say, "Oh, I didn't know you were bringing anyone." And he goes, "Oh, she just wanted to meet you. Don't worry, it's not a big deal." But it was a big deal because she didn't just stop by to say hi. She ordered wine and stayed. The whole time she's asking me these personal questions about my job, my family, even if I want kids someday. It was like an interview, not a date. Jake barely said anything. He just smiled and kept nodding like this was all normal. Is it possible to get secondhand cringe from a date you've never been on? Because that's what I'm feeling right now. OP, this is not a first date. You showed up to a matchmaking interview. I am uncomfy for you. This can't be the trend these days. I know I've been out of the loop on first dates, guys, for a while, but this cannot possibly be the trend. Right? And this is just diabolical. The mom doesn't even show up until 5 minutes after she sat down. So it's not like she could come up with some excuse and pretend, "Oh, I'm not the date you're looking for. You're looking for some other girl." I'm internally dying a little inside. But let's see. Opie says, after about 20 minutes of this, I couldn't take anymore. I said I wasn't feeling great and needed to leave. I texted him later saying I didn't think it would work out and wished him well. Now, I feel kind of bad. My roommate says I did the right thing because honestly, who brings their mom to a first date? But my coworker said it was rude to just leave and that maybe his mom was just super close to him or nervous for him or whatever. Was I wrong for walking out? I don't know what the right answer is. One could make the argument that, yeah, you staying just 20 minutes for a date and then just leaving, kind of rude on a first date. But to be fair, he brought his mom. What's his name? Jake? Jake, you are a 25-year-old man. You cannot possibly tell me that you need to be chaperoned on your first date. Right? Am I that out of the loop? Would you bring your mom to a date of ours? Or even to any date? Well, maybe not now, but earlier on?
Yeah, personally, I would not do that. As you were reading the story, I was thinking maybe it's some kind of medical maybe reason. He needs to have someone with him.
Like a support person there?
Perhaps. I don't know. In any case, I don't think that is a normal behavior. I think if you are going to go on a date with someone and there happens to be another person joining, I think you should inform them. But in any case, that is the first date that you
He
I
did inform her. He went, "This is my mom."
well, it's kind of too late at that point, right? You at least would wanna give someone heads up if you have someone else joining you. But in any case, this is the first date. You probably wanna have a first date with just that person alone.
I would think so. But here's the thing. You mentioned giving a heads up. How how early of a heads up would we want to know that mom is joining us for our first date? And wait, maybe that's why he didn't give Opie a heads up because he knows that if he gives a heads up, she might not even show. Maybe he's been through this before. He seemed a little bit too natural with this whole thing.
Yeah, I think as you're making the date plans, you should bring it up then. If you're gonna do that, to me, that seems just I wouldn't personally do that. Uh, I don't think that's normal either, unless
The trends have changed
unless I've been out of the loop for
that
that
long.
long. Yeah, but
It's wild. I mean, kudos to Opie. She stayed for 20 whole minutes. She went through a few of the interview questions. I mean, the questions are, what do you do? What's your job? What's your family like? If you want kids, is that a first date question people usually get to? I mean, I guess if it's really a deal breaker for someone, I can see that being maybe a beginning conversation. But from the mom of your date, no. But let's see what's on the comment side. First comment from Fluffy Cupcake. You're definitely not in the wrong here. Bringing his mom to a first date without warning is a major red flag. First dates are about getting to know each other, not being grilled by someone's parent. You politely excused yourself, which is fair given the situation. Don't feel bad. You dodged an awkward future. I would agree. I mean, what's the second date going to be like? Is his dad going to show up? Is this kind of like a BOGO deal where you meet, like you go to meet him and you get a second family member as a surprise deal? I think Opie actually handled this with as much grace as she possibly could. I mean, you sat there, you tried to get through it, and then you just went, "Excuse me, I just I just have to go." I don't think Opie was rude about it for what it was, for the whole awkward situation. I think you did what you needed to do. What's odd to me though is it doesn't strike me that Jake would have given off some sort of red flag weirdo sign, to be honest, that he would bring his mom on the first date. Because Opie says, we've been chatting for a few weeks. They talked, he's funny. They talked about music, they talked about food taste. Where was he hiding this freak? Like his inner freak?
yeah, it would be interesting to see that conversation to see if there were red flags that
I
OP
mean,
just
Opie
missed.
missed?
Yeah,
Oh, man. I mean, if he hit it well. I don't know. It almost seems like he doesn't take the date seriously. Like I would be kind of upset, not just that it was such a weird situation, but in a way of, man, did you even take the dates seriously or did you just waste my time? Because he's sitting there, he's not even saying anything. He's just sitting there smiling, like letting his mom do his thing. And oh, I feel bad,
yeah.
OP.
I would say you could also make the argument the other way that he is taking it seriously because he's introducing the date to his mom, I guess.
Oh.
At the same time, I think, yeah, I can't overlook that it's not the social norm, at least in the United States. I don't know if maybe it is somewhere else. Maybe we're the uneducated ones here.
I mean, maybe we're the oddballs, and if we
Right.
are, you guys will have to let us know. But I am team OP. You're not in the wrong. You did what you had to do and you got out. If you guys are aware of any other cultural norms or maybe the dating trends have changed where people are now bringing family members and parents and third parties on dates, let us know in the comments. And if you're enjoying this first oddball of a story so far, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, guys. It helps a lot. Now, I hope you guys know what time it is. It is time for our dun 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 dun, our wild pick of a story. Wild pick is just that, a story that caught my eye because it's a little bit odd, a little bit out there, but I thought you guys would find interesting. Now, this story is a Thanksgiving one, and it's from the subreddit Am I the A-hole? I have never posted here before, so my apologies if I make any mistakes. I, 54-year-old female, have been invited by a friend, 50-year-old female, who I will call Anne, to come to our house for Thanksgiving. We all live in Italy, but spent many years in the USA and have several American friends in the area. and heard that I make a traditional Thanksgiving dinner at my house every year for my family and a couple friends, 6 people total. It is quite difficult to get all of the supplies here, no buying canned pumpkin or cranberry sauce, so I make every single thing from scratch. Over the years, I've also acquired all the dishes and tools and spices. No suppliers for the more exotic things, and am an all around good cook. You go, OP. I'm impressed. It's interesting that OP mentions that living in Italy, it's harder to find ingredients because here in the US, my goodness, the minute September 1st hits, it's like all the grocery stores uniformly in America have decided pumpkin is the gourd of the season for the next foreseeable 3 months. You will find canned pumpkin, diced pumpkin, the whole pumpkin, mini pumpkins, different gourds, pumpkin pies. There's a lot of pumpkin stuff, pumpkin biscuits, cookies, you name it, we have it. I did not know this is an American thing. I was watching Culinary Wars with M. It's a great show on Netflix. But basically, the chefs were puzzled because the mystery ingredient for one of the competitions was pumpkin. And people are like, what do I do with this? What can I cook with this? And I'm over here sitting, I don't know. There's like a bajillion things you can do: pumpkin spice latte, pumpkin pie, pumpkin cake. And I realized maybe that is a US thing. So interesting that maybe the pumpkin obsession is only observed by, I don't know, is it only enjoyed by us Americans? Is it? I guess. Although, what's funny is I don't think I even love pumpkin that much, but it is the flavor of the season here. Now, OP says, so Anne, who was born in China but lived in the USA for 20 plus years, asked if I would come to her beautiful and much bigger home and teach her how to make the whole dinner for a group of 12 people instead of the usual 6. I was hesitant at first because we live a very modest lifestyle, and Anne and her British husband are very well off. But I figured it would still be fun and I would enjoy putting on the feast for new people and in a beautiful kitchen. After I agreed, the problems began. First, Anne wanted to have dinner on a day that isn't Thanksgiving to make it more convenient. I decided it wasn't all that important since we live in Italy, so it's scheduled for the Sunday prior to the actual day. Then, when we were planning to meet to go shopping for all the ingredients, she asked if I could do all the shopping and she would reimburse me for her half. I asked what she meant, and she said that I'd be paying for half of everything. So not only would I be doing all the shopping, all the planning, all the cooking, and teaching her as well, but now I'm expected to pay for the food. I told her I could not do this. We really don't have the budget. So now she's trying to alter the menu she agreed to, which was turkey and fixings, candied yams, roasted veggies, an appetizer, and pie. Really a modest dinner by American standards. Wow, that's a whole feast. I am drooling a little bit just hearing we talk about the food. She says she then made a comment that her friends don't eat like pigs. She then went to another guest with my recipes and asked her to prepare my pumpkin pie so she didn't have to buy the ingredients. Bear in mind, Anne and her husband are very wealthy. I'd estimate the whole dinner for 12 might cost 200 euros for the ingredients, and my labor and gets for free. She thinks I'm being stubborn and ungenerous, i.e., I'm an a hole. My family thinks Anne is taking advantage of my kindness, and her miserly ways are ridiculous since she'd spend double that amount for lunch out on a whim. So, am I the a hole for refusing to contribute to the meal or be bullied into this nonsense? My family wants me to just bow out and tell her I'm not comfortable with her attitude. I'm tempted because this feels toxic and manipulative. Oh my gosh. I am surprised that Thanksgiving I think of as the season giving thanks, feeling appreciative, spending time with friends, like quality time, right? We don't have to have the whole feast. It's nice if we do, but it's almost like a nice additional treat, you know? It's almost the cherry on top, not necessarily the main dish, so to speak, with my Thanksgiving lingo. But why are there so many unappreciative, ungrateful, entitled people during the Thanksgiving season? I am baffled. So, and the friend voluntold OP and said, hey, can you teach me how to make Thanksgiving dinner? But wait, instead of 6 people, can you make it for 12 people? But wait, can you buy all the ingredients and do all the shopping? Oh, and by the way, you'll pay for half of everything as well. Are you just a catering service, OP, at this point? I mean, I feel like, you know what? That might be Anne's big plan. Think about it. This is such a good deal for her. She is getting a fully cooked meal from a trusted source and lessons from you and all your recipes. She doesn't even have to lift a finger to do the shopping. Yeah, I think you literally are her catered chef for Thanksgiving. That's what I think this is. I am baffled by the audacity to just straightforwardly go for this and just think that someone's gonna say, "Oh, yeah, I'll cook you a whole feast. That's fine. I'll pay for it too. Yeah, I'll do everything. I'll just clean up afterwards and decorate your house for the holiday too. Why not? Why not? Might as well throw that in there. I just hello. Oh, and can we talk about Anne's attitude? She wasn't nice about it or trying to be gentle with it either. She reduced the menu after she realized that OP was kind of like, no, I'm not going to cook all that. She went, oh, well, don't worry. We can reduce the menu because her friends don't eat like pigs. Is OP the pig? Did she just call you a pig? I'm flabbergasted by the audacity. Do people do this to their friends? Okay, the first story had me out for a loop because maybe I'm out of the loop with what's the trend for first dates nowadays, and maybe people just really take it seriously to that extent. But this, I've seen asking for a favor from a friend, but am I the only one who's getting the vibe that like OP feels like a lesser service human being? Like almost like I imagine Anne on her fancy, wealthy pedestal of some sort sitting there and going, oh, I don't know how to do that. How about you just make the whole thing? Like while they're teaching and she's just sitting there like, "Oh no, my nails got dirty. Can you just finish the rest by yourself?" Also, I'm surprised that the ingredients for a 12-course dinner for Thanksgiving is only 12 euros.
It's 200.
I mean, wait, did I just say 12 euros?
Yeah.
I meant 200. I don't know why I said 12. But it's only 200 euros? I mean, we're talking about maybe veggies don't cost that much, but a whole turkey, fixings, roasted veggies, appetizer, pie. That's a pretty good amount, pretty decent amount to feed 12 people. No?
I guess it's not too bad.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's the cheapest, but it's not horrible.
Yeah, if you put it in US price
Mhm.
price perspective, I think it's a pretty okay deal for what they're getting.
Yeah. Oh, I think Popeyes is running a deal, right? Well, that's not a deal, but they're running this Thanksgiving promotion where they have a Cajun turkey. They will pre-season and everything, and you just bring it home to cook. I think it's like $125 USD for just that turkey. Someone will have to price check me on that. But I remember seeing it and I was like, Cajun turkey. I've never had that.
I mean, it's completely different because one is kind of home cooked meal, and
Oh,
you
yeah. But I'm just saying,
cook
like,
things from
you
scratch.
buying a pretty much almost pre-prepared turkey is already 125 USD from Popeyes. I know, fast food, not homemade, not by any means the same caliber of, wholesomeness. But just as a price comparison, I am surprised that Anne is complaining. Is Anne just stingy? Is this what it is?
Well, OP is also not willing to pay that much money
That's true. But I think it's fair that OP doesn't want to.
for sure.
Because she's already volunteering. Okay, in my opinion, I don't know how it works with with people generally. But when I think of if I'm doing a group thing with friends, right? And I'm hosting, generally, if a friend asks, like, oh, can I help with anything? I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, you can help by paying for half of everything. I I just I don't know. I think I would be embarrassed. Like I can feel like myself warming up just saying it, imagining myself in this awkward situation. I think isn't the normal thing to say, "Oh, yeah, like you don't have please don't feel compelled to bring anything, but if you do want to, like you can bring even events we've been to, like or family gatherings. It's like bring a dessert or oh yeah, you can bring cookies or a pie or something." You know? Although I do have a really funny story for you guys about pies. So, I talked about pumpkin pies earlier. I don't think I'm very much a pie person. Unless it's like a nice homemade apple pie or something. But otherwise, I don't think it's my preferred dessert. And one year we were going to a family event And we asked, oh, can we bring something? And they said, yeah, bring pie. So Emma and I went to the store to get pie. But I don't know what happened that day, or maybe it was just that year. There was only one type of pie left. We were looking for apple pie, and yet there's only one type of pie left. What type of pie do you think it is? Guess. I'll give you guys a minute. You guys can comment below your guess. Let me know. No, it's not pumpkin pie. I would have been relieved it was pumpkin pie. It ended up being pecan pie. I don't know about you. I like nuts as much as the average person, but pecan pie I learned was think of a pie crust, which is just tastes like a graham cracker cookie in the bottom, right? The entire thing is just filled with pecans. Just straight up unchopped straight pecans. We showed our niece the pie when we walked through the door. She said, "Ah, it's a poop pie." That basically explains how that the reaction went to the pecan pie. I want to tell you, looks were deceiving. It did not taste good. I don't know. Maybe we had a bad pecan pie.
I don't know. It delivered on the pecan part, but that's just about it.
I feel like someone took a pie crust and just threw in a whole bag of just pecans. It was a sad, sad pie. And then when it came to the end of the night, and our family was like, oh, does anyone want to take the leftovers? Usually everyone takes a little bit of something home, right? This year or that year, we were all like, nope, we're good. No pie for us. No, we're good. Mm-mm. So since then, I've internally been calling the pecan pie a poop pie. And it doesn't help that it's a brown looking pie too. Not the most appetizing, but that's what it kind of reminds me of. I'm just saying. Now, OP, to answer your question, no, you're not the a-hole. I think you should stand your ground, refuse this nonsense. Don't be bullied into this. You phrased it correctly. Anne is trying to manipulate you into, well, I guess she gets all the credit for hosting and you get none of it while you do all the work, literally. Think about it. Even if she's giving you 100 euros, that doesn't even cover the amount of time you spent cooking, the amount of time you spent shopping, and barely the bill for the ingredients. You stand your ground. What do you say for OP?
I agree. I mean, it's clear cut. At the same time, I think if you're going to be the host of a dinner or an event,
Mhm.
I think it's customary for you to cover the costs,
Yeah,
unless it's a potluck type of event where everyone brings a dish.
I agree.
Yeah. Otherwise, if you're hosting, you're inviting people. Yeah, cover the bill as well. And if you want help, maybe you can ask people to bring a dish
Yeah.
or something else like that. But
I love how Anne wasn't just roping in OP. She turned to another friend and went, here's a pumpkin pie recipe. Make this and bring it. I don't know, I don't know much about baking, but from the recipes I have tried myself, baking's not usually the most beginner to cooking friendly task. So I don't know how a first timer's pie would turn out, to be honest. I just Anne just doesn't seem like a good friend. If I'm to be honest, I don't think she even treats you like a friend because the fact that she mentioned her friends don't eat like pigs specifically, she excludes you from that OP. You're just someone that she can use and manipulate. I think the best thing you can do this Thanksgiving season is to be thankful that Anne will be leaving your life by exiting out of this friendship, OP. Break up the friendship, please. This is not a friendship. I don't know what this is. Maybe see, I do want to take into account that this does take place in Italy. So maybe there is some cultural nuance that I'm not aware of. But let's see what some of the comments say. First comment, not they whole. Sounds like she just wants you to pay and make the meal for her and her friends. She is most definitely taking advantage of your kindness and probably just wants you to cook for her. I wouldn't make the meal or pay for it if I were you. Oh, OP responds, I absolutely won't be paying for a single thing. I don't expect to be paid for my time as my family will be there too, 4 of us in total. So I was willing to make the meal. But I'm expected to pay for the privilege of planning and cooking a meal for 12? That seems ridiculous to me. My family is aghast at the nerve of her asking me to buy half the ingredients, to be honest. I just wanted outside opinions on if I'm being an a-hole since we'd be there eating the meal also. Yes, you and your family are going to be eating there as guests, not as the chef, the planner, and probably the cleanup crew. Oh, I feel so bad for OP. Another comment from Bujo Momo. Not that I lived overseas in places where you would pay an arm and a leg for Thanksgiving dinner ingredients, so I understand how expensive it can be. Sounds like she wants your expertise and labor in addition to half the cost, so I would pass. OP responded, it isn't just that some of these things are expensive, they're also very hard to find. I've stockpiled things like pumpkin pie spice and turkey roasting bags, found cranberries and pumpkin pie pans, so my dinner's the real thing. You really can't find this food here unless someone knows how to make it right and invites you. So it just feels gross that the host wants me to buy half the ingredients on top of the labor involved. Whoa. I had no idea that I guess, I hope no one's offended when I call it this. The American Thanksgiving dinner is so hard to find or procure the ingredients for outside of the US. Wait, is turkey the bird eaten outside the US? I realize my only experiences, even outside the country, turkey is usually not offered on menus I've been to. Like I've been to Mexico, Vietnam. At least in Vietnam, definitely not a common dish or meat, type of bird meat you'd see. What do you think? Is turkey more American thing actually?
I don't know, actually. Yeah, I don't know.
I guess it's popularized here, but I never thought that deeply about it. Wow, it makes me a lot more grateful, I guess. Like I always enjoy Thanksgiving dinner every year, so it makes me a little bit more grateful that it's so much more accessible here. If anything, you could argue it's too accessible. It's like pumpkin everywhere lining the shelves. Turkey, oh, you can find out what, like different pound sizes. Overall, all the comments that I'm seeing here, they all mark OP as not the a-hole. And I have to agree. Oh, we do have a little update from OP. Edit to update. OP says, I did cancel this entirely and thank you everyone for your kind advice and encouragement. We will be having our dinner at home instead. Nice. And in this way, it'll be easier on OP too. OP will only have to cook for what, 4 instead of 12? Oh, well, I'm glad this worked out for you, OP. I was a little bit worried because we see a lot of stories where when it's a favor from a friend, people tend to feel pressured into doing it. And then they end up doing the whole thing and getting really stressed out about it. So, OP, I'm glad you stood your ground. Our next story is from the subreddit, Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for not letting a girl take my sweater the first time we hung out? I, 22-year-old male, had a girl come over last night after she was at the bar with her friends. We had only connected through Instagram the day before, and I really couldn't tell what her name was from her username. We had a fun night talking about life and catching up on the horror movies from this year. At some point, she said she was cold and asked for a sweater. I gladly gave her my favorite one. I have 3 in total. And then we went to sleep. Sure, OP. And then you guys just went to sleep after you gave her a sweater and you guys went back to your place. Okay, OP. I see what you did there. OP says, when we woke up, she asked me to pay for her Uber, to which I said I could not. I need to eat this week. Crying emoji. She then said, okay, and ordered her own. As she was leaving, she said, I'm taking your sweater. You may or may not get it back. To which I responded, I wish I could let you take it, but I only have a few sweaters and that's my favorite one. This was because I had just met her and did not even know her name, and there was a high probability we would never talk to each other again. We then awkwardly half argued back and forth for a few minutes until she finally took it off. She said, bye, and walked out my room and out of my apartment without looking at me again. Am I the a-hole for not letting her take my sweater? Who's gonna tell him?
I think it goes further than just the sweater.
The infamous sweater. Okay. All right, you go first.
Isn't it pretty obvious? I
What?
I think
What's
part
obvious?
of keeping the sweater is so that they meet up again. I mean, isn't that the goal of the
That's what I thought.
other person? So
That's what I thought. I thought it was her excuse. Like when she said, "Oh, you may or may not get again." Like I'm imagining her saying it like all cutesy, kind of like wink, wink, like hint, hint, get it. And then she orders Uber, and the idea is that he would text her. I'm thinking he should be texting her. Oh, so when am I getting that sweater back so they can continue the banter? So they would have a second date or a first date, I guess, considering if you count their first meeting at the bar a date, right?
Yeah, although I think the OP and the other person have two different expectations of what the what the night was all about, it seems.
I can't believe he went. I'd love that, but actually, I'm gonna need that sweater back. I only have three. First up, OP, you are a 22-year-old male. I don't know what climate you live in. How can you only have three sweaters? How do you keep warm? Ah, oh my goodness. It's such a good meet cute too. May not meet cute, like a cute like interaction. Like, oh, I'm so cold, and I'm just imagining OP like wraps her up in his sweater. They go home and sleep, as he says.
Hmm.
Sure, they go back to this place, sleep. The next morning, she's like, they're flirting. Why do you have to go and ruin it, OP?
I think OP, as I said earlier, they just have different expectations of what that night was all about.
I feel like it completely went over his head,
Did it?
or does he not? Okay, well, let me take a step back. If OP has no intention of continuing any interactions, oh my gosh, wait, is he treating this like a one-night stand?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I feel bad for the girl then. She wanted to see him again and he's like, "Oh, I'm done. Give me back my sweater." No. That's so awkward. I just meant they're at the freaking doorway, like just arguing back and forth. Like, how does one argue about a sweater? How does the interaction actually go? Is it like, "Hey, my Uber is almost here, but wait, you still have my sweater." "Oh, well, I'll give it to you next time." "Well, I only have three sweaters. I need that back." "Oh, next time." "No, like, take it off." Like, that's so awkward. I just, oh man, this is awkward. Hi. OP said, wait, let me see what he said about it. He's like, there's a high probability we've never talked to each other again. I see what you're saying. Okay, definitely going into this with two different expectations. I mean, on the bright side, you can look at it as, well, OP, if your intention was to make that probability of never talking again into a certainty, I think you achieved it. I do not think she will contact you again. Most likely. This is such an awkward encounter. Now we must tackle the question. Is OP the a-hole? Technically, no. I think no.
Right. Yeah, so the way I see it, technically OP does not have to pay for
Yes.
for the Uber ride.
Yes.
Also, at the same time, he does not need to give his sweater away.
Yes.
So at least the way I see it is, what was the expectation of, why they, what kind of date was this? Was it a one night stand or was it a potential date that would, lead to a relationship?
See, me and my naive rom-com self really thought this was the beginning of something special. It could have been, though. That's so cute. The whole sweater interaction was adorable. But I realized this is not a rom-com movie. This is not a Hallmark rom-com movie. This is more like, it's a one-night stand. Oh, that's awkward.
So they mentioned that they met on Hinge, right? Is
No,
that?
no, no. They didn't meet on Hinge.
Oh, okay.
Instagram. They connected through Instagram the day before. And he doesn't really know her name.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I don't know if he doesn't know her name. He says, I really couldn't tell what her name was from her username. So I guess they just chatted and then they met up at the bar the day after.
Okay.
I see, that's so ambiguous to me. I don't
It
know
is
how to
very
navigate
ambiguous,
that.
right?
Because it's almost like I can see it from both ways. Like, oh, of course he would think it's something casual if they don't even know each other's names very well and they only met the day before technically. But then she's thinking, "Oh, this is the beginning of something longer term perhaps question mark." Oh man, I feel bad. When do you think is the best time to bring up your intentions? Or is it something you don't bring up and you're supposed to hint? What is correct mm, etiquette for that?
I have no idea at this point.
I feel like
I've been out of the game for so long.
we're so out of the loop. We're like, what is it like? Okay, is this weird? I feel like it's a good first time conversation to have. Like first conversation. Not you don't have to be all serious about it, but don't be awkward or vague about it either. It's just don't be like DTF. But like also don't be like so marriage. Like there must be an in between. That's a little bit more like easy to find.
I'd say one thing is maybe the app that you're using, where how you meet up.
Yeah.
At the same time, they met up on Instagram, so I don't know what the.
That's so vague.
Um,
I don't know. Well, I'm trying to place myself in the mindset of the girl, for example. If I'm someone who's looking for something more long term, I would think that, oh, we had a great like first interaction, so we're gonna meet again. Why not? It's almost like if you eat at a restaurant and you're like, wow, this place is 5 stars. I'm gonna go here again. But there's also the other interaction where I feel like he's like, oh, this is like a great place. I tried the food. Cool. I'm not craving anymore. I'm out. I'm not going to be back here again. Not to compare people's sexual encounters or whatever romantic encounters with restaurant offerings. But at what point is the perfect opportune time to say it? I think you should have it at least somewhere squeezed into that first interaction. I mean, I guess you can argue he did make it clear as part of the first interaction by saying, "Hey, so my sweater."
yeah, but that's at that point. Wouldn't you say it's kind of, I don't know.
Too late? You think it's too late?
I don't know. Is it too late?
I don't know. Oh my gosh. Thank goodness we're not in the dating game. It's too confusing.
At this point, I'm rethinking the interaction that OP had,
Yeah.
and like at that point,
Is it
can't you
too
just
late?
kind
Is
of
it too late?
ask? I don't know how you would bring it up, but you can. You had your opportunities to kind of get the sense of what's going on, unless OP was completely misleading the other person.
Oh, that would make him a jerk if he was like maybe hinting that it's more than it
All
was.
right.
Oh, Pete, you're not the a-hole for not letting her get the sweater, but I'm almost tempted to say you could potentially, like, possible question mark a-hole. Like, I feel like this is the first time I'm going to say this. Possibly might be the a-hole if you didn't make it clear what your intentions were. But also, she could have been potentially a-hole here as well, because maybe she just completely ignored what you were saying and ignored
Right.
what the signs were that you were putting out. So it's hard to say. It feels almost like I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle here type of story for me. Do you have a definite verdict, or are you also on the fence like I am?
Yeah, I'm on the fence. I think it's, to me personally, it's inconclusive given the information.
Yeah. Let's see what the comments say. First comment from the roaring girl. Not the whole. My guess is she was trying to do a cute thing where she steals your sweater, so you have to follow up with a second date, and so on until you're married and she can have all your sweaters. See, that's where I was thinking too. But yeah, you don't even know her name. Did you ask? And you have to buy food and wear warm clothes? I'm not gonna lie. The fact that OP doesn't even know her name, kind of, is not painting him in the most like positive light. Not that there's like some sort of rule where you need to know someone's name before you take them home or you romance them or whatever it is that you want to do. But uh, it's giving very casual vibes, which is fine if
Right.
that's what you're looking for, OP. But
But
I just hope that she was aware of that.
well, at the same time, you can also say, given the whole attitude and the casualness about it, that
That maybe those
it
were
wasn't. Yeah, it was not serious.
maybe she was just kind of misreading the signs
Right.
on her own. Could be. Another comment, not the a-hole, but she wasn't trying to steal your sweater. She was trying to ensure the next catch up. She gets a-hole points for the awkward half arguing after you ask for it back, not for the awkward attempt at getting you to arrange the next date. But I think she was upset that you didn't seem to want to see her again. Edit tab, not condoning her actions or recommending them as a way to secure a second date, just sharing my read on the situation. I love how most of the top comments we're reading are from women and they're like immediately going, she doesn't want your sweater, dude. She wants another date with you. Interesting.
That would have been maybe a cute move if it was reciprocated by the OP. but clearly wasn't. So yeah.
So embarrassing. I'm kind of like, I have secondhand embarrassment for her a little bit. Because imagine you're like, you think you're so smooth and slick. And then the guy hits you back with a, okay, but I want that back.
Yeah, seems like a kind of double rejection there with the Uber
Oh,
fare and then
oh, you're
the
right.
sweater.
Oh,
Not that
feel
OP
bad.
has to do any
Yeah,
of
yeah.
those
It's
things. Yeah,
not a
but
have to, but
it'd
it's like
be
a
it'd be a
nice,
nice yeah,
yes,
it'd be a nice
a
thing, but
nice gesture. Oh. Now, our last story is, I wanted to end it with a little bit festive, is a Thanksgiving story. This one's from the subreddit AITH. Am I the a-hole for refusing to host Thanksgiving after my sister handed out a family code of conduct contract? Okay, contract for Thanksgiving dinner. Must be a chaotic dinner that your family has. OP says, this happened recently and I'm still baffled. For context, I, 32-year-old female, have hosted Thanksgiving for my family every year since I moved into my house 5 years ago. It's always a little messy and chaotic, but that's part of the charm, right? This year, my sister, 29-year-old female, decided she wanted to help bring some order to the gathering. At first, I thought she just meant coordinating who would bring what dishes or helping with cleanup. Instead, she showed up at my house last week with printed copies of what she called a family code of conduct. She handed these out and insisted everyone read and sign them before attending Thanksgiving. Some highlights included a rule against overlapping conversations at the dinner table, with suggestions for taking turns like a respectful debate club, a ban on political or controversial topics, with her as the final arbiter of what was too heated, a dress code of smart casual because holiday photos should reflect well in the family, assigned seating that she claimed was based on optimal personality compatibility.
what this reminds me of?
What?
Big Bang Theory, Sheldon.
Oh my gosh. Is your sister Sheldon? I can totally see Sheldon doing this. The roommate agreement.
Right.
So, you guys should really watch Big Bang Theory. Long story short, Sheldon he's a kooky character, but he gives his roommate a roommate agreement, which is like this book, this literally encyclopedia size thickness of contracts on everything from whether or not you're allowed to bring people over to more random things like your assigned bathroom time in the morning. You know, it's funny that you went with this reminded you of Sheldon, but you know what this reminded me of? Why does it sound like the sister is preparing to go to war or something? She's like, you must be dressed. You must speak a certain way. My second question for you, OPS, what type of things happen at your family dinner? Like, I'm scared to ask. I'm picturing people are like throwing knives at each other or something, like screaming over each other, maybe like debating, controversial political topics on it and like dressed like slobs or something. Because, man, that's a burn right there. Dress code of smart casual because holiday photos should reflect well. Like, what are you guys all wearing? Like, do you guys just have awful style? Like, what is going on? My favorite is the last one, assign seating for optimum based on optimal personality compatibility. How many fights are erupting? Be honest, Sophie.
Yeah, so at least for me, as I was hearing that, yeah, I was the same way. I was thinking about what happened during past Thanksgivings.
Yeah.
But that comment in itself, assigned seating based on optimal personality compatibility. Yeah, I don't know. That's a little too much.
Like, I was like,
I mean, the other ones are kind of common sense, I would say. You probably
yeah,
want to avoid, certain topics. You want
yeah.
to just okayish. I mean, you don't
Like,
want
just
to.
cute. Just,
I mean, it
normal-ish.
depends. Like, I don't know what your family style is, but that particular one, I don't know. So puts kind of was it sister?
Yeah.
And is she overdoing it?
Oh no! What gave you that idea? The contract or like the dress code or like the code of conduct? I like how
Yeah.
she named it. I bet you she typed it up in a nice, little Google Sheets or wait, not Google Sheets. What's the Google version of Word?
Docs.
Oh yeah, Google Docs or something. Print it out. What is it? Maybe she format all nice like MLA format. Uh, Times New Roman, like font, all typed up, all nice with like little dotted lines. I am dead. No, OP says she was completely serious. When I laughed and said, "You can't be serious," she accused me of not taking her efforts to improve family dynamics seriously. I told her I wasn't going to enforce a code of conduct at my house and that if she wanted to micromanage Thanksgiving, she could host it herself. She doubled down, saying I was being ungrateful and stubborn. I canceled hosting, and now the family's mad at me. My mom thinks I should have just humored her for the day, while my brother, 35-year-old male, is refusing to go anywhere unless no one tries to draft a holiday constitution. I'm torn. Was I wrong for standing my ground, or should I let her run the day to keep the peace? Um, no, you're not the a-hole for refusing a Thanksgiving contract with your family. But I think, I guess some advice, because this is tagged as advice needed as well. I would say, OP, maybe you should have a serious conversation with a sister because clearly your Thanksgiving dinners are chaotic and unpeaceful, to say the least. I don't know how else to describe it. Maybe closer to war because some of these things, I feel like maybe there's merit to the feelings that sister has. Maybe not the contract itself, but maybe you should have a conversation with her to see maybe not why she's so dissatisfied with the family dinner and why she feels like this is a necessity and not a joke. Because I have a feeling that, man, if I have to go to a Thanksgiving dinner, like in all seriousness, where people just speak over each other, always talking about controversial topics all the time, people aren't dressed very nicely for the photos or never put in effort, and maybe people are always arguing, it would kind of make me feel some sort of way about coming home for Thanksgiving dinner. So, in all seriousness, I think maybe a conversation with her just to maybe get her point of view and talk to other family, after you guys finish laughing about this contract that no one's going to sign, would go a long way. But no, I don't think that would have kept the peace if you just let her run with the whole contract thing. Like, I don't think anyone would have abided by anything.
Agree that I'd say there should be some kind of medium there.
Yeah.
They need to maybe meet her in the middle somewhere. Of course, signing things that is crazy. That you shouldn't need to do that. Yeah, just have a conversation, hear her out, see what her concerns are, and
Go
try
from
to be
there.
respectful of each other. Have a good family time together. I think that would be appropriate thing to do, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so. I kind of feel almost bad for the sister too because she's kind of okay. I think sister's sort of the a-hole for drafting this whole paper and pressuring everyone else to sign for sure. But I also feel bad because how horrible are your family dinners that someone feels compelled to draft up a legal document?
Well, legal. I don't think it's illegal.
Oh, it could be binding. It could be made binding. I'm not a lawyer, but I feel like it could. Because what is it? A contract only needs two things, honey. What was it? Consideration. I forgot the second one.
Yeah, exactly.
Something about exchange. Something, exchange of something. Exchange of services? No, that can't be right. Exchange of something, a give and take. I think I'm close. Any lawyers there who'd like to correct me on this, please feel free to do so. Let's see what some of the comments say. First comment from Excellent Highway. Just host your brother, lol. Tell everyone else that if they're happy about a code of conduct, they're free to attend your sister's house. However, you will not be hosting. Yes, another reason why I would agree, OP, you're not the a-hole, because it's your house. And I always abide that. Your house, your rules for hosting.
Agreed.
Another comment from Born Horror. I'm with your brother. This would make me skip Thanksgiving altogether. Not the a-hole. If she wants to be the Thanksgiving police, she's welcome to attempt this at her own house. I agree.
Like the Thanksgiving police.
Turkey patrol. She's the turkey patrol.
Beanie's being a turkey patrol.
Oh.
So I wish I could show people.
Oh. Well, you guys see Mango over here sleeping? Like they've been very much enjoying our new holiday decor. Well, not new, but the holiday decor that's been set up. So the cats are all napping. Sometimes I'll tell you guys now, in most of our episodes, like almost every single one, whenever I start recording and talking to you guys about the stories, they all start falling asleep. I don't know. Am I putting you guys to sleep? Sometimes I doubt it myself. Like, I'm like, oh, I hope you guys aren't falling asleep to this. Or maybe that's a good or bad thing. I'm not sure. But anyway, so those were all our stories for today. And I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit of festivity and bring some joy, hopefully, to your holiday season. And if you guys did enjoy this one, don't forget to like this episode and hit subscribe, guys. It really helps. And thank you again. We hit 3K, guys. Whee! Yay! So thank you so much. And if you're listening to me on Spotify, don't forget to give me 5 stars. Oh, and reminder, I am filming the Q&A soon. So leave me and any questions that you have for us about the channel, about the podcast, and I, if you're curious, or the cats. I accept questions about Beanie and Mango too. And leave them in the comments below. And I'll see you guys very soon. Bye, guys.